Starting off with a little hibiscus detox tea. Breakfast, same as always. Having a little snack apple with almond butter. Salad and mushies and soup I made the other day. And I had half of a dark chocolate bar. Okay guys, time for the Nutritarian Nugget. Here we go. Today's nugget comes from Caldwell Esselstyn's book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, this revolutionary, scientifically proven, nutrition-based cure. And of course, we're all about that kind of stuff around here. He's not Nutritarian. He has his own sort of program, but he has fantastic recipes. He has really great advice. The only thing I don't agree with is the fact that he's basically no fat whatsoever, which I think can have some really good effects for people with heart disease and things like that. And there's a lot of studies and stuff to back this up. But I do agree with Furman that fat is necessary in the diet, but whole foods, plant-based type fat. Anyhow, that aside, I'm going to put a link for this book down below. If you know anyone with heart disease or anything, get this book. It's really great. It's got a lot of really good information. But I'm taking specifically from this one part in the book on page 116, where he's talking about the 4 major challenges to making a change in your life this way, like a diet change like this, lifestyle change. And this applies to any kind of lifestyle change really, but it really, really applies to the Nutritarian lifestyle or to Esselstyn's lifestyle diet, etc. So basically is what to do if you're invited out to eat at someone's house. It's a huge challenge. I'm in fact about to go out to eat to dinner at a restaurant with a friend. It's a very, very challenging thing. I don't always make the best decisions, but we can at least have these things that we can use in our mind to sort of use as ammo to help us through it. So here's the advice. If the person inviting you is a close friend, it shouldn't be a problem. But if it's someone you don't know well, it can seem awkward at first. The key in the situation is candor and, of course, basic good manners. Explain to your host at the time of the invitation that you follow an unusual nutrition plan and you do not eat any meat, fish, fowl, dairy products, or oil. Emphasize that you very much enjoy the pleasure of their company and you love to come, but you don't want to cause any extra effort on your behalf. You might suggest that you could eat before arriving, then join the dinner party for a glass of wine. Almost always, the host will insist that you come for food as well, and will ask what you can eat. In that case, tell him or her that you'd be happy just to partake of plain salad and bread, or that simple steamed vegetables or a baked potato would be just fine. Perhaps this goes without saying, but you should always avoid pressing the issue of your diet on others unless they seem genuinely interested. So I want to make a note about this. This is great advice. These aren't necessarily the things that I would suggest eating, some bread, but in cases like this where you kind of don't have much other choice, that would be an okay choice if it's just something to help you get past the fried foods or the meats or something like that. Things with a bunch of dairy and stuff like that. If you can avoid those, at least making some exceptions on other things that you eat in your normal diet is okay in times like this. You do want to have the social aspect of it. You do want to be able to hang out with your friends and have fun, but you don't want this to be a bummer all the time. I do mention the fact that sometimes it's even better to just reduce your social calendar a little bit. You don't necessarily always have to go to events that you're invited to if this lifestyle change is an extreme important thing for you, which it should be for all of us technically, but just something to think about, these different things you can do for reducing your exposure to some of the things that aren't as good for you. Now, this thing that they talk about, explain to your host at the time of the invitation that you have an unusual nutrition plan. So I think a lot of the times what happens when people go out is that you run into these people who want to argue with you about the way that you eat. They want to argue about it. But I have found that the most important thing to do is to be upfront about it in the first place and use the words that are more like, oh, I feel better eating this way. It puts it on you that way. And it's not like, oh, because we should eat this way. That makes the person feel bad for the choices that they make. And we don't want to do that. That's not what we're trying to do. You need to lead from example. That's what we have to be doing, is like showing people how good it feels and that you can, be at a healthy weight and have these wonderful benefits of, fixing any kind of disease that you might have, or not getting colds. Maybe that's your benefit, or there's lots of different things that are benefits to eating this way, but you can't shove it down someone's throat because they they're not going to believe you, or they'll have all these things from the media running through their head that they've heard before or that they want to argue with you on, and it's never worth the argument because you're not going to convert them. It's so rare that you convert people without them having already seen a bunch of positive benefit out of you in the beginning. Like if they're like, oh, I noticed you lost 100 pounds, how'd you do it? That's because they want to know. But if they're going like, yeah, but people should eat meat, you're never going to win that one. You know what I mean? So just be upfront with your hosts ahead of time. Someone asks you to go out to dinner or whatever it is. Okay, but I am a vegan, so I like to go to vegan restaurants and, that kind of a thing. Just warming people up beforehand. And a lot of the times I'll use the self-deprecating thing that's like, oh, I eat crazy. So just so you know, I kind of put it on me a little bit. So anyways, that's the little Nutritarian nugget for today. Let me know down in the comments if you ever have any problems with this. This is a good tip for right now. Of course, we're going into the big Christmas time parties and things like that with the families and all that. So you can use a lot of these techniques as you're getting ready to go to these parties. Let me know down below what you think about this. Do you have issues with your family members or with going out? Do you think that an approach like this of just being a little softer and telling people beforehand will work? Or tell me about your experiences. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!